This girl you see right now died 3 years ago. I know it for sure. I know it because I was the only friend who came to her quiet funeral. I stood there and watched them lower her coffin into the cold, wet ground. But last night, walking home through the empty park, something impossible happened to me. I saw her sitting calmly on an old wooden bench under a single lamp. She was alive, breathing, smiling at me as if no time had ever passed. And the most terrifying part of all, the part that froze my whole body, was that somehow, impossibly, she already knew my full name before I spoke. It was a quiet midnight in the park, almost no people walking the paths. Kai was walking home alone, hands deep in his hoodie, mind completely empty. Then he suddenly noticed a girl sitting alone on an old wooden park bench. She sat peacefully under a warm lamp, watching the dark moonlit lake in silence. "You are late again tonight," she said softly, as if she had been waiting. Kai stopped walking instantly. "Excuse me, do I actually know you from somewhere before?" She smiled warmly at him. "Only 7 minutes late today, that is not bad." "Do we really know each other?" he asked, taking one cautious step closer to her. She started laughing brightly, a clear, gentle laugh that echoed across the empty park. Then her eyes really focused on his face, and her warm laughter slowly faded. "Wait a moment," she whispered. "You truly do not remember anything about me at all?" Kai sat down slowly on the cold wooden bench beside her, heart pounding loud. They began to talk quietly, but she looked completely lost and confused inside herself. She was certain she knew him somehow, but could not say how or why. Finally, Kai gathered his courage and gently asked her what her real name was. "Alina," she answered softly, her voice barely louder than the wind across the lake. Kai's whole face changed in that second. He had heard that exact name before, a long, long time ago, in a story he had tried hard to forget. His shaking hand pulled out his phone slowly from the pocket of his hoodie. He opened an old saved news article from 3 years ago, fingers cold and stiff. On the small screen appeared a photograph of a young woman with silver hair. Same exact face, same exact smile, same eyes staring back at him from the screen. The headline read, "Alina Marasova, age 20, died in a car crash 3 years ago." Kai slowly, very slowly, lifted his terrified eyes from the bright glowing phone screen. She was still sitting there on the bench, smiling, alive, real, impossible. He jumped to his feet, almost falling backwards off the bench in pure panic. "This is impossible," he whispered, his voice cracking, his face white as a sheet. "What is impossible?" she asked, her eyes wide with worry and growing fear inside. Wordlessly, he turned the phone toward her so she could see the news article. She stared at the screen in complete silence, not blinking, not breathing, not moving. Then she whispered just 3 small words, "But that is me, that is me." "Do you remember the crash?" he asked urgently, crouching down right in front of her. She slowly shook her head, silver hair swaying gently in the cool night breeze. "Do you remember your family, your parents, anyone at all?" He pressed her harder. She shook her head again, and this time real tears began rolling down her cheeks. "Then what do you actually remember at all?" he asked, voice trembling with desperation. After a very long pause, she answered him in a whisper. "I only remember you. I do not remember anything else from my life. Just your face, just your name." Kai felt the entire world tilt sideways around him as her words slowly sank in. They kept talking through the night. Hours passed by them like falling autumn leaves. The old watch on Kai's wrist quietly showed the time as 5:57 a.m. She suddenly became very serious. "Kai, listen carefully. I have to go now. Soon." "Go where?" he asked, alarmed, reaching out instinctively to grab her thin, pale arm. She turned her head slowly and looked out across the lake toward the sunrise. "I honestly do not know where I go, but it is always the same every morning. When the very first sunbeam touches my skin, I always disappear, every single time." The first golden sunbeam slowly crept across the bench and touched her resting hand. Her fingertips immediately began to dissolve into glowing particles, drifting upward into the air. Kai stumbled backwards away from the bench in absolute horror, unable to look away. She looked at him peacefully and smiled. "See you tomorrow night, Kai. Same bench." In one single second, she was completely gone, leaving only an empty wooden bench. The very next night, midnight again, same bench, same girl sitting under the same lamp. Same white dress, same shy smile. "Hi there," she said warmly to him, waving gently. "Do you remember me from last night?" he asked her, hope flickering in his tired eyes. She blinked at him in genuine, innocent confusion. "Should I remember you? Have we met?" Kai felt his heart simply stop beating. She had forgotten absolutely everything. Everything. Many long weeks passed by exactly the same way, night after night after night. Every single night they met again on that bench as complete and total strangers. Every night he would tell her their whole impossible story from the very beginning. And every single morning she would dissolve at sunrise and forget all of it again. But slowly, despite everything, despite the pain, Kai began to truly fall in love. Really, deeply, completely in love with a ghost who could never remember his name. So Kai finally made a decision. He would write her a long, careful letter. He would leave it for her on that very same bench where she always appeared. The next evening at twilight, she arrived as always, white dress glowing in the dusk. She immediately noticed the small white envelope waiting there for her on the bench. Curious, she sat down, gently opened the envelope, and began to read the letter. And suddenly, without warning, she started crying silently, tears falling onto the paper. Because the letter she was holding was written in her own delicate handwriting. Inside the entire letter, there was just one single short line of writing. She looks at Kai. They both understand one thing. Someone knows the truth. And that someone